Okay, this is Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives. We're for about 10 to 20 minutes, just go over some topic that comes to me every Monday morning. And I usually don't know what I'm talking about beforehand. I may not know what I'm talking about during, but it's just my perspective. And I guess when you kind of look at yourself long enough, you start getting a different perspective. You start coming out of your own mind into a different understanding of things, and that's what I'm sharing. This morning, I want to talk about being unmotivated, and what we're normally taught about being unmotivated is usually those people are lazy, or they're making excuses and stuff like that. And you've got to be motivated. And you listen to motivational speakers and they get you motivated, and they fire you up, and it lasts for about a day, and you lose your motivation. And I'm not really a proponent of that whole philosophy of just being motivated so that I reach this particular goal. I have a different idea about that. I actually want to be inspired. And I want to share with you what the dictionary says about motivate and to inspire. So motivate is to provide someone with a reason for doing something. So, and then the next one is to cause someone to have interest in or enthusiasm for something, or to request something and present facts and arguments in support of one's request. So it seems like with motivate, there's a common thread there, and it's a very mind-centered or logical kind of thing, that if I say the right thing, say the right words, and I push the right buttons, that I'll motivate that person to do something that they don't really want to do. And there's some benefit to that in some parts of our life, I admit, but I'd rather be inspired. And when I read the description for inspire, it's to draw forth and bring out, or to influence, move, or guide by divine or supernatural inspiration. I don't know about you, but that's where I want to go. I want to go to that divine or supernatural inspiration. And I know that some of my best motivations or inspirations have just kind of come out of nowhere, it seems, out of just kind of the quantum field. And the ones where I've gone into trying to motivate, like, here's an example: when I try and go into sales for me, or marketing myself and advertising myself, I've got to motivate myself. And I know that if I advertise and market myself enough, yeah, the numbers will speak for themselves and I'll get numbers in. But I kind of think about, do I want to do this on my last hours of my life? No, I want to be inspired. I want to die that way. I don't want to die motivating myself to do something that they don't really want to do. So again, there is some balance there that, I do motivate myself to pay the bills, or to do some amount of advertising or marketing. But for the most part, I really want to follow my heart and be inspired with what I do day to day. Let's see, what else have I got here? There's this thought of, you just got to keep going. You got to find some way to push through. And I completely disagree with that. I feel like when I'm feeling unmotivated, it's because my body consciousness, my soul, my energy knows that something is out of alignment, that I'm not quite linked up with something that is the best thing for me. If I'm in a sales job and it's a cubicle with a black phone and a stack of crappy leads, and I just push to motivate myself, yeah, eventually I'll make a paycheck. And I've done that, actually, where I've done really well in the sales, and because I motivated myself. But I was motivating myself out of fear. And although I did, move up cubicles and make more money, it wasn't in alignment with what I really wanted to do. And yeah, I need to support the family for a little while. But what happens with that is that leads into depression, and just unhealthy mind thoughts. And that leads me to the kind of source of the whole problem is our mind. So our mind is so powerful and so manipulative and amazing that this whole idea of being unmotivated is because the mind is so active, and it always wants us to think that we should be thinking of the next thing. And so if we don't think of the next thing, we must be unmotivated or we must be lazy. But in our natural way of being, there was some space around us to sit in the field, sit on a rock, swim in the ocean, peel away the corn cob. There was things to allow us some peace so that we could kind of feel a bit more. But the world is so active and so fast paced these days that we don't have a lot of time to really feel what it is that's really in alignment with our soul and with our natural desires. So we feel like, oh my gosh, we're not going as fast as everyone else. We must be unmotivated. But I see this as an opportunity. So if I'm going along, this happens every once in a while for me. If I'm going along in the work that I do, and I love my work, which is mostly coaching, counseling, diving into emotional traumas and healing those traumas with a little bit 10-20% of sound healing and breath work. Sometimes I feel myself getting into this not quite motivated about what I'm doing right now. But that to me is not a sign that I'm being lazy or I don't like what I do. The sign to me is that there's something being created, there's something being stirred up. And it's kind of like this is the natural step in the evolutionary process of me creating something even more magical. So I'm kind of getting I've kind of maxed out where I am, and then I start feeling bored. Start feeling unmotivated, and it's not a real. It doesn't take me down, but I start getting these feelings of, huh, I got this one, and then maybe there's something more. And what happens from that? That's like a call that goes out and says, okay, Daniel's ready for something new. And wouldn't you know, I'll meet someone or talk to someone who'll have this different way of looking at something, and it'll inspire me. And I see that little step of unmotivated is just a step in for me to create something even greater than what I've been creating. Or if I was in a job and it sucked, it was a job that I wasn't really excited about, even though it paid me lots of money. If I felt even unmotivated about that, I would be like, oh, okay, what do I really want to do? And what usually happens with that kind of stuff is when you're in a job like that, when you're unmotivated, you'll create yourself getting fired or quit or making some big mistake, or something will happen to cause you to rethink that and then move into a different direction. So unmotivated isn't really the bad thing that a lot of people perceive it to be. It's just a state of you feeling. You're feeling that there's something else for you. And this something else is not something that you can kind of lock into right now by looking down the path that you're on. It's going to take you to pull yourself out of the situation and the patterns and the rituals that you have every day and get a different perspective by some epiphany or realization or meditation or something. So I'll talk to you about how to get into that space, but just know that this place of feeling unmotivated, it might be something like that. The other thing that it could be is you're being unmotivated because there's something being stirred up in you, and there's some emotion that's coming up. So you might say, okay, I'm feeling unmotivated to make this decision, or I'm feeling unmotivated to take this plane trip. You might be tapping into something that you have an inner knowing about. Maybe you feel like it's not going to be a safe trip, or maybe it's not the right decision for you. Or you're feeling like it's stirring up some old traumas or some old fears in your life. Maybe you're feeling unmotivated because in the past, when you were a child and you were in bed and your parents woke you up to go to school, you didn't really want to go to school because you got bullied or molested or abused or something. And this whole thing of being motivated to go do something you didn't really want to do is stirring up these old emotions. And that's the one that really kind of hits me as probably one of the ones that we don't think about, but it could be hitting something. So when we were kids, what did we get? We get a little tummy ache. We get a tummy ache because there's a test or a quiz, or we've got to get in front of the class, or there's a performance, or there's some kid who's a bully, and our parents motivated us to get out of bed and go to school. And now here we are, we need to be motivated again to do something that we don't really want to do. So there is that strong possibility that you're finding this, but it's not about what's happening right now. Maybe it's something about what happened in your childhood. So not a big deal. It just takes some introspection, some self-discovery to find out what that might be. So look a little deeper into the feelings that you have about what's going on in your life, that there may be something different than, oh, I'm feeling so unmotivated and I should be motivated. I don't know why I'm not motivated. Well, there is really a deep reason. You're not in alignment. You're having some feelings that you need to look into, or it's tacked into some kind of childhood trauma or some kind of feeling. So, and the other thing is that you might need depression, or otherwise said, you might need deep rest. And that's what I felt like when I was in doing a programming job. I was making six figures and was a manager and living in Santa Barbara and living a great life, but I was also unmotivated to do what I was good at. I was good at it because of my mind. I can kind of figure things out that way, but I wasn't motivated. I wasn't inspired. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be inspired. And when I'm doing this job and I've got the great car, motorcycle, great place to live, but I'm not inspired, then I'm not motivated to create something new. I'm just sitting here doing what I'm good at. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you should be doing it. So here's some solutions to help you get out of the motivation, or help you, actually, better said, help you inspire. Use that unmotivatedness to inspire yourself outside of your thoughts. Let me say that again. To get out of the not being motivated, to inspire yourself outside of your normal thoughts. So this place can't be thought out of. This place has to be felt. And you need to take some time to just put some space around you on a retreat, or go to a place where there's not a lot of activity, to an island, or go to the forest, or somewhere where you can get together with your feelings, not so much your thoughts. So a couple things that really helped me to get in that place. I listen to heartfelt music or watch heartfelt movies. And what I'm trying to do is I'm getting out of my head and getting more to my feelings. So I want my heart to be expanded and to have my heart be inspired. And I might have ideas from that, but the first thing I need to do is allow my heart to open. Because if you don't know this already, the heart is its own brain. So it's the heart that gets the data from the environment outside your body and inside your body. And then it feeds that data to your brain, and your brain catalogs that and labels it and analyzes it and judges it, and then puts it into a package. So that's something that I wasn't taught when I was a kid, that the heart has its own brain. But look at Heart Math Institute, and they've been doing studies about this for decades, and it's very intriguing. Another thing that you can do to get more into your feelings and your childhood, your childlike energy, is start exploring crafts and arts, and maybe restoring something. The restoring is something that really helps me to, like, I'm taking something that's dirty and blemished, and I'm shining it up, and it kind of lights me up after I do that, and go, wow. And then now I've got this energy of restoration going on. So it's kind of an energetic epiphany that I'm having while I'm doing the physical work. What am I doing? Oh, I'm feeling so grateful. Oh, that's a good feeling. Oh, I'm feeling like I restored this into a better place. Oh, that feels good. Can see where that's headed. Instead of just sitting in my chair, in my cubicle, trying to think my way out of this, and what's wrong with me, kind of thing. So it's really shifting into the feeling state. And the other big one, of course, is to get your ass outside, get your butt outside on the rocks, under some trees, among some animals, among some critters. And, that's the place that really helps me to sit in my own space and allow any inspiration to come. And if no inspiration comes, that's okay too, because now I've taken time for myself, because it may not come in that particular moment. That's not your purpose, to go outside and get inspired by new ideas. I want to make that really clear. Your purpose to get outside is just to get outside. And what usually happens from that, either in that moment right there or later on, is that you'll get some inspiration. Seek guidance and insight from nature and from wise elders. And this is something that we've all kind of gone away from, is our ancestors, our wise elders. And they've got some really good info for you. You're feeling unmotivated, seek the wisdom of an elder that is not motivated by the fast-paced society. And it was not going to tell you to get off your lazy ass and get to work. There's other people out there that have a deeper perspective about the world, and those are the people that you want to tap into. Find out what your deepest needs are. If you can find out what your deepest needs are in relation to you as a child and what that child needed, and you start playing with that. Like, here's one. Let's say you kind of lost your childhood and you were taught to kind of grow up fast and take care of the other kids or take care of the mom and dad because they were alcoholics, and you had to really step into that. Maybe one of your needs is to restore your childhood. So what a lot of people do, including me, is start working with kids at the YMCA, or doing something that you're working with kids and you're kind of engaging in your own childhood. So that's just one way of engaging into what is it that my own needs are. If you've been having jobs that are very anxious and lots of stress, of course, you need peace. So time to start thinking about a job that doesn't have that kind of stress, and one that actually has some peace. And it might take you some transition time to move into that and accept that, because your normal way of being is probably being okay with stress and being okay with chaos, which is probably what you had in your childhood. So let's see. So your own mind is the problem. Stop thinking for a moment long enough to go inside and feel and connect with the quantum field. So the quantum field is just a field of energy that is everything, around everything, in everything. You are in that as well. And when we stop our local mind in the thinking process, we can tap into that. And that's sort of what we do when we dream, is we sort of shut down most aspects of the localized mind, and we allow ourselves to expand out into the quantum field, or to the non-local mind. And that's why we have such crazy dreams and crazy information, that kind of stuff. But you can get that through meditation, being in nature, breath work, those kind of things. Let's see. Eventually, you may become intensely focused on something that you weren't aware that existed. But without the peace of the soul, the peace as in Om, peace, without the peace of the soul to recognize it. Let me say that again. Eventually, you may become intensely focused on something that you weren't aware of existed, without the peace of the soul to recognize it. Invest your life as if your life is precious. So we tend to go forward and do as much as we can do, but we're doing it not from a place that life is precious. And I have found that when I start forgetting that life is precious, someone will die. And I'll need to go to their funeral, or I'll need to think about that and kind of think about my own mortality. And that is usually what causes more inspiration in my life, to not just go through the drudgery of my everyday life. So before that happens, good idea to just start doing things that inspire you to think about how life is so precious. And I know that, spiritually, we talk about how, we're never born and we never die and we're eternal and infinite. Totally understand that. But I think it's also helpful to also have in this life, in this body, in this experience, I've got a limited number of time here. And those I want to look at with a feeling of preciousness, that I really want to do things that inspire me and not just solely motivate me. Let's see, anything else? I guess the last thing that I want to share is you can feel the things that are going to be for you, when they inspire your heart. If you are motivated by the thought of lots of money, that's one thing. But if you're inspired that if you did this and didn't make much money, but you were inspired by doing it, you're going to have a great time with it. You're going to be great at it. And then people will pay you good money for it. And that's what I found in my life, is that when I'm excited about it, I'm great at it. And then if I'm great at it, people pay me money for it. And that's just the added benefit to that. So whatever it is that inspires you, the biggest obstacle for that is what your mind is going to try and tell you about that. How can you do coaching and counseling without a PhD in psychology? How can you restore these things without all the thousands of dollars of equipment to make that happen? How can you race sailboats without getting qualified for, all those kind of thoughts that run to your mind. But me being the rebel that I've been, it's kind of like I've done all these things regardless. And it's worked out pretty well. So I think that's all I have for today. I hope this helps you to find the true motivation developed through inspiration and help that guide you, because we need more of that in the world, of people being inspired by their hearts. And, it's kind of like, what's that saying? If you build it, they will come, kind of thing. When you build it from your heart, the right people will show up. Thank you so much, and hope to see you next time. I love you. Bless you. See you next time.